Welcome back, everybody, to the last regular season Rivals Rundown. We're going to be going over Sentinel Week 8. We know you guys have been chomping at the bit for that, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Righteous. That is CB. CB, how we doing today?
Oh, we are ready for playoffs. Ready to speed run this in about an hour 20 and
Yeah, dude.
put you guys into the LXC stream that's happening tonight.
All right, speedrunning it is. We got last week's results to go over, the final regular season standings, and then a little bit of the preview for the upcoming play-in games happening today. I think one's happening today, one got rescheduled to a later date. So there are your regular season standings. TFF winning against rivals. Rivals coming up and choking, losing that number two seed. And then I think everything else kind of shook out basically the way we expected. There was a chance TDB could have taken that four seed over Plasma Wolves. It didn't happen. So there you have it. The remaining 10 teams above that red line between 5 and 6. Um, and then, just looking at the results, other than, I guess the TFF Rivals series, you can say it was surprising it went 2-0, but we knew it was going to be close. I think everything basically went as you expected, if you were
Uh,
on the outside looking in.
yeah, I mean, you could say the Sub-Zero game versus DPH game. Granted, that game didn't really matter. So you can kind of use that as maybe an excuse or whatever. But obviously, DPH playing with most, either 4 or 5 new people. So picking up that win over Sub-Zero didn't really matter. Sub-Zero still stayed second seed. DPH still didn't make playoffs, but if you were just looking at the results, I'd say maybe you could say that one.
Yeah.
Then everywhere else, you could maybe argue the HPB versus No Veracity. I would assume that maybe we both put 2-1, one way or the other. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
And then
Been too long.
RBLM was close as we expected it to be. So
Yeah, I think the DP series, it's tough. You could say it was an upset. OSG didn't have a lot of information going into it though. They were basically playing four new players plus Fifi, who's been in and out of the lineup the whole season. So obviously not the results you're looking for Sub-Zero. But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. That number two seed was locked up for them. So hopefully they're not tilted. I imagine that they didn't really take it too seriously if you look at the game two draft. Um, but
everybody was having
anyways,
fun. That's all that matters.
they're having fun.
Probably.
Yeah, Roar BLM taking off a win. I definitely think the better team won that series. That was the only, like, I guess you could say, close series. Everything else was 2-0. So I don't know, not much more to talk about. So we will move on to the preview predictions. The thing that I used to do the team stats wasn't updated, wasn't working. And with it being playoffs, we decided to forego that and then just focus on the playoff bracket. So today we got Plasma Wolves taking on Veracity, and then on Thursday, TD Bless will be taking on Braum Lives Matter. Playoffs, of course. All the initial games going to be cross division. I guess we'll start at the one that starts on Thursday and then talk about the one the day second.
Yeah.
Sweet. So that'll be TD Blessed versus Braum Lives Matter. TD Blessed, I think, has more questions than answers right now. Red XC left on less than amicable terms. And they haven't won a game since their defeat to HPB. They're on a slide heading to the playoffs. Braum Lives Matter has been contending with every team that they've played, but still hasn't picked up a win. At least not for some time. Let me.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's. If you asked me a few weeks ago, I'd say TD 2-0, no question. But as of now, I don't know. It's close. I'd say it's a 50-50. It is a best of three. Both play-in series are best of three before we move into the best of fives. Um, I don't know. I mean, BLM, of course, also coming off of a loss, but they've been at least taking games. So
Yeah, the
I don't know.
last win for BLM was sooner than TDB. The last one at week 5, picking up a 2-1 win against Veracity. Um, I'm gonna go with the squad that seems like they have more bit more put together, which is Braum Lives Matter. I'm gonna say 2-1, but I think there's a high chance that it's 2-0 BLM as well. I'm gonna go 2-1 because it is play-ins. Expect both these teams to be operating. The one question I do have, Braum Lives Matter the last week had Drakenrich back mid. I'm not sure if that's the um, plan moving forward. I don't know if
It's
they've
planned
posted.
for yeah. He's planned to go mid, comma 80
Okay.
carry, stealthy jungle.
Kame 80 carry. Interesting. So that is a wrinkle. I think looking about how they like match up against TDB, it's the right call. I think you definitely want Drakenrich in mid to make sure Riven doesn't get going against maybe a less than comfortable mid laner. So I'm gonna go 2-1 BLM.
Okay. I'm actually gonna go 2-1 for TDB. Uh, they're on a loss streak. They got a new jungle. All that stuff is relevant. It looked like at least game one. Let me see if both games. At least game one against NLE looked somewhat competitive, at least for a bit. Um, game two maybe not so much, but uh, I don't know. I think if TD has been able to put enough games with their new jungler, I feel like they could be the better team. So it's just up to how much they can build that chemistry. BLM, I would say maybe has the best like player one or two, but TDB I think could figure it out. So I'm gonna go 2-1 TDB. And
Okay.
they have a couple more days, so
Guess
we'll
we'll
see.
see. But moving on to the matchup that is happening tonight, Plasma Wolves taking on Veracity. This will be the first time we see Plasma Wolves as 5 play in a game, and it comes when there is no take backsies. This is win or go home. I mean, there's not a lot to say about Plasma Wolves. I imagine that they've been scrimming during this entire time as 5. I'm not even sure who's playing where. Do you have that
Yeah, it's gonna
listed?
be Nike Dragon going into the top lane.
Okay,
It's gonna be Xuri, LOL, Jungle, Wall Street mid, Tortuga, 80 carry, and Trash Panda support.
interesting. Um, and then Veracity. I mean, they haven't.
Normal lineup.
Yeah, their normal lineup. They haven't won since like what week 2 or week 3. Um, week 3. It's I mean, it's tough. I'm gonna go Plasma Wolves here. I think Nike Dragon the top man might actually not be good for Plasma Wolves. We'll see. But I think Veracity, they're probably the weaker roster overall. And even though they've been playing this whole season, I think Plasma Wolves, with the work that they put in behind the scene, the caliber of players that they have, I'm actually gonna go PLW 2-0.
Okay. I'm if I'm assuming Plasma Wolves, everybody shows up and they're not losing bans. I don't know if they are or not. Just roster timing and everything. So assuming everyone's good to go and good to play, I'm going to agree with you in a Plasma Wolves 2-0. No Veracity has a very good top laner, um, but I think Nike Dragon will be able to hold his own, even though he's going to be off roll. Um, I recognize a couple other names on Plasma Wolves. Haven't seen him play this split, but um, enough confidence to where I'm gonna say 2-0. No Veracity has just been on that loss streak, so
Yeah, I'll say 2-0. There is a world where I think if Veracity picks up the first game, they could win the whole thing. But if they don't pick up that game 1 win, I think it's just gonna be Plasma Wolves 2-0. We'll see. But we're just gonna cover the play-in games for today. Next week we'll tackle on the quarterfinals because of course we gotta wait for the play-in games to finish up before we know some of those matchups. So
yep.
brings us straight into the player rankings.
What role do you want?
Let's just go top down. It's been a while since we've done that.
Okay.
Will be boring.
My preferences, I did not proofread anything that Wright just typed in, so blame him if
Yeah, if there's any
anything.
typos or wrong logos, you can blame me. So we're into top lane. There's all 13 players for this role, and at number 13, it is Wee's small sample size, but it hasn't been a
Yeah,
good sample size. So,
was it
um,
1 week or 2 weeks that they've played?
I think it's just I don't know if he came in as an e-sub that initial week. No, he didn't. So it's just been the 1 week where they played a team that will no longer be named,
Yeah, and
and
we doesn't look like they're playing this week, so
yeah,
at least they got to be on the board.
they're on the
Thanks.
board. Number 12 gonna be another player that we don't have a ton of sample size of. Feldroth that did fill in. Avalanche did not play last week. They actually FF2 Plasma Wolves, so we're just going off of who last played for these teams. Feldroth takes the number 12 spot. Number 11, Hunter 85M7. I like Hunter in terms of top lane pool. Not very flashy. I don't think he's like actually the number 11 top laner. But in terms of stats, he did come in late into the season. He's basically a tank player. That's how he finds himself at the number 11 spot.
Yeah, I mean, number 2 seed team, so I mean, I think Hunter has some opportunity in front of them, just not the flashiest of players, I guess, maybe, is a way to put it.
Yeah. I am gonna pull up the previous week's list as we go through, but this is a brand new player. DPH, of course, we talked about them running a basically full new squad.
Nas Ghost,
Nosghost.
yeah,
It
maybe.
was pretty impressive in their win. Enough to get into the top 10. This will be the only time we see this player, as they did not make the playoffs. But for a one-hit wonder, number 10 spot, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, coming in, popping off, ending their season on a win just for fun,
Just for fun.
and then calling it.
Tiny Fist of Fury coming in at number 9. So Tiny Fist, kind of like Hunter, mostly a tank player. Occasionally you'll see him bust out the cannon and the like. But you'll
Got the
most
karma
likely
this
see.
week, I guess.
Yeah, the karma was a kind of a curveball. Didn't really work out, but definitely at number 9. The the question for BLM is, I think, Drakenrich is going to be solid wherever he slots up. Can the surrounding pieces step up for playoffs? If they can do that, just kind of raise their floor just even a little bit, they'll be a dark horse candidate for sure. And Tiny Fist going to be one of those players to look out for. Number 8, you got Reverse. Um,
And they picked up a win. Reverse popped off at least game
yeah,
1. Played back-to-back Singe games, so game 1 did really well. Game 2 did well enough, we'll say.
yeah, that series was
Just for fun.
good enough. Yeah, I was just for fun, but it was good enough to kind of bump him in a little bit in the stats department. And with some of these players, small sample size, kind of supportive champ pools. Number 8 is Reverse.
Yeah, got back up into the middle tier to end the split.
Yeah, he was 11 last week, so I'm sure he's happy with that. Now, Complex is a player that has been in the top 5 pretty much the whole season, dropping down to number 7. A lot of that has to do with the way that their team has been playing. But I can argue that Complex, since the losing streak has started, has kind of lost some of that momentum he had. Hasn't really looked like the same player.
Yeah, I mean, you have a really good jungler naturally. Your top side, I feel like, is going to play better, do better, look better. Um, Not to say their new jungler is bad by any means, just comparatively, it seems like there's a bit of a learning curve between the top side duo.
Into the top half we go. At number 6, It's gonna be Islamic Samurai. Did rise one spot with the win against rivals. Islamic Samurai, he will pick what the team needs. Um, you know, I think the carry potential is pretty limited for this player. He is, I think, support main mostly. Um, but stepping up for the team, basically playing that weak side William role, and letting mid and ADC do their thing, and not really being a detriment in the process. So Islamic Samurai at 6.
Yeah, and did have a very solid Aatrox game against us.
Yeah.
Speaking of the opponent.
Yeah, Death Knight. So I think Death Knight both games you can argue got the better of Islamic Samurai in lane. But TFF played that bend don't break style in game one, and then kind of turned it on a little bit more in game two. Um, so it you can argue Islamic Samurai should be ranked ahead of DK.
The gap
But
closed for sure, right?
the gap closed. Yeah, DK was number one, falling to 5. Islamic Samurai rising to 6. So, um, power rankings, all things considered, I think it's a fair shake for both of these players.
Yeah, DK gonna keep the top 5. Rough week for our whole team all around, but moving on
Number
to 4, it's gonna be.
Yep.
How are we saying this one?
You be awesome, Uba. He's basically been like number 4 on lock for a couple weeks now. Kind of cemented himself right there. The ceiling is limited with the results of the team. I think Uba's been fine in lane. I think he does decent stuff outside of lane, but it hasn't been equating to wins. So number 4 for you be awesome.
Yeah, not the best showing game 1, but they could have just treated it like a scrim because it didn't really matter. They were making playoffs either way.
Top
Back
3 we
on
go.
the top lane list from AD Carry.
Yep. Go ahead. I've said it pretty much every time.
Pelum Murialis. That's my guess. Something like that.
Yeah, gonna be going back to the top lane. No longer needed at the AD carry role for the new kids on the block. BBP has looked impressive in both roles. I assume that this player isn't going to be the reason why this team bows out if they ever do in playoffs. Instead, it's going to be probably those new faces coming on short notice. But definitely a really, really solid player. Into the top 2 we go. Number 2, Feathers. Feathers, had a little bit of dip in the middle part of the season. But as Roar has righted the ship, Feathers has kind of been at the forefront of that. Solid in lane. Champ pool always going to be talked about with this player, but I think he did bring out the Ornn like he said he was going to.
Yeah.
And they're able to pick up that 2-1 win.
Cho'Gath. This week it was Cho'Gath, Trundle, Malphite.
Oh, it wasn't Ornn, it was Malphite. But did look good in the wins. And I think he's actually top of the league in terms of CS per minute. I could be wrong. He's probably up there. And then number 1, Diet Coke. You're gonna be happy with that placement, I am sure. He was in my DMs asking when we were doing the stream.
Finally,
with the shakeup
he
on the
hasn't
top
been.
side.
I don't know if he's been. Was he first at one point in the season? I don't remember. It might have
I don't
been
think
just
he's ever
hovering
been
the
number
top 3
1.
spot for a while.
Yeah. He was dude, what the Solram calling him fat. That's crazy. Anyways, Diet Coke brings in the number 1 spot. The laning is solid. I think there's some question marks for me in terms of the mid game macro, lane assignments and stuff like that. But not the end all be all. Diet Coke deserving of the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I agree. Did he pull out? I saw he pull out the Cho'Gath. I don't know if it was the. I don't think it was the crazy spicy build. But nonetheless, solid week versus TDB and going to end the regular split first on the rankings. We'll just run
It
it down the
was.
list.
It was the fun build.
Oh,
It was a heart steel built in, but he did have the Shurelias and the Omnivamp item, whatever it's
mhm.
called. All right, jungle. We haven't seen the jungler play for BBP. It was a toss up. We were debating on whether or not just raking them based off of what we think they could achieve or what they think they'll look like, but instead, because it is power rankings, we're kind of quantifying everything that's happened thus far in the season. We're gonna go ahead and slot the team rank right there at the bottom.
Yeah.
And
I mean
I
they.
think we're doing that with PLW, yeah, PLW as well.
Yeah. I mean BBP already got that free 8-0 record. uh, so we opted to not give them a free power ranking spot if they have not played. I guess same for PLW. Their jungler hasn't played either.
Yeah. And for a while, it was gonna be Trash Panda. It turns out it's gonna be Zuri. So I'm kind of glad we didn't put him there. Odin Gaming, OSGA had a rough split, rough season. Odin was the last player to play jungle for that team, and gonna come in at number 11. Not last though for the
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
season.
I mean, last time they'll be on the list will not be at the bottom. So that's good.
Physiology, a player that is stepping up for TDB with Red XC's departure. Not the role they're accustomed to playing, so kind of pulling double duty, not only coming in at short notice, but also on an off role. Has looked decent enough. I think a lot of it comes down to macro, knowing where to be, when to be, why to be there. Will improve over time. I don't know if they have enough time for it to get to where it needs to be for a deep playoff run, but physiology at 10.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the extra 2 days this week will at least be enough for the play-in. Pull out the play-in win.
We'll have to see. Tyler 3501 coming in at number 9. Tyler, once again, one of those glue players, those players you love to have on a roster because they will play what you ask them to, play for the team. And right at number 9, pretty good spot right in the middle.
Yeah. Back-to-back Volibear games this week. Didn't pull out the win, but maybe could have just been for some practice since they did not need the win this week.
Maybe. Number 8. I'm Stealthy, the journeyman player coming over from CEW. That's a throwback. You guys probably forgot about them. At number 8, um, decent enough in all their games. I don't know if they picked up a win since Stealthy's joined. I think maybe they did a couple weeks ago.
Probably.
I think it was a couple weeks ago. Regardless, the pieces are there. They're starting to put it together. If Stealthy can get going, especially with Drakenrich in mid, they can kind of get that 1-2 punch up to snuff. Once again, BLM going to be a team to watch out for. Number 7, questioning error. So OSGS, not the series they wished for. Closing out the split. In the end, it really didn't matter for their seeding. So I don't know how much prep or how much care they put into it. But he's been a player that's played some funky picks. I will say, busted out the Mordekaiser this week. I don't expect it in playoffs. It looked kind of rough. But he's been playing stuff like the can, the fiddle, as well as your conventional jungle picks. So definitely a player I'm excited to watch in playoffs.
Yeah, just gotta throw in some carry champs every now and then, see what's up with it. Got the O2 this week, but again, didn't really matter. So, one of the players on the team that we've been sleeping on. So,
Yep.
chilling at the number 7 spot.
Number 6. Into the top half we go. Red Sharky. A player that's played all over for HPB. I think mid, jungle, and support at one point. Has looked good. I should walk that back. Has looked decent enough in all those spots. Kind of been a fill player for them, which it's hard to do, especially when I don't know how often this guy's playing solo queue and the like. So Number 6, really good spot. They had a decent performance this week. Good enough for that 6th spot.
Yeah, ending it on a win and ending it top 6 in the rankings despite not making the playoffs. So I don't think there's too many players that will end up on the list top 5, 6 that don't make playoffs. Speaking of another one though,
GP Fifi. I've been a Fifi believer this entire split. Fifi comes in and DPH looks like a different team. Um, what 8-1-8 on the Jarvan. Big part of the reason why that Jarvan Oriana combo looks so good in game 1. Game 2 wasn't the greatest, but also wasn't the worst. He's like top of the leaderboards in farm for jungler, which is an underrated aspect of the position. So it's looked really good.
yeah, some people were whispering maybe he should have played a little bit more this split. And they would have been slid into
Some
the
people.
playoffs, but it is what it is.
Top 4, number 4, the moisting. We talked about Roar. We talked about the top side, the moisting, also a big part of that. It looks really good when they win and looks really bad when they lose. So this guy might be the hinge player. If Moisting's having a good day, Roar does well. If he's having a bad day, look out. But regardless, fun player to watch. The only player that consistently plays Rek'Sai every week.
It's working.
So, yeah, it's working.
It's working. Rar still on a heater this last half of the split, and we'll see if they can keep it going tonight. Today, maybe.
We'll see.
Big perm.
Yep. Top 3, big Rev. Yes, this last week could have been top 2. Rough week for everybody on Rivals. Rev, no exception. So gonna stay in the number 3 spot. I believe that's where he was last time, because there was a certain player that is no longer with us. But top 3, nothing to be ashamed of. Really good spot. I think if a couple more things get cleaned up, could definitely be at the top of the table for the league, but just not quite there yet.
Yeah, I mean top 5, top 3 is a good spot to be, especially coming after a loss. And assuming he wrapped up his last ranked game, should be chilling going into playoffs for us. Number 2 is going to be Coach Silent K for TFF. I think a good showing against us this last week. Enough to jump us in the rankings. Pulled out the Ivern, which you don't see too often.
It was
Especially
super annoying.
And it was very tough to kill Daisy.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Silent K, he's basically had like a, what do you call it, an exponential trajectory in terms of Sentinel League. Started off pretty flat, I would say, but as time has gone on, his play has definitely improved. I think he leads all junglers now in KP, but definitely a player that knows his role, and tries to make his teammates thrive. So, Coach Silent K looking really good.
Who could be number 1?
Yeah, dude, the man, the myth. You know how funny it would have been if we just didn't put his name up there? He'd get so mad. Anyways, it is Koi. Koi's been itching for the number 1 spot. It only took him the whole split and the team getting booted for him to get it, but here he is. He has arrived.
Now people were saying Koi was gonna get it regardless if teams or players drop. That's what people were whispering. So, congrats to Koi.
Koi's looked really good. It's kind of been a running joke, but I am curious to see how the champ pool can be utilized in playoffs. His team doesn't want him playing tanks, which means the engage, the beefiness has to come from somewhere else. Could be an issue depending on how teams have kind of attacked him. But so far, ever since their loss to TFF, was it TFF or Plasma Wolves?
TFF.
I can't remember. TFF. They looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, broke out the Talia jungle this week, so things are working over there.
Things are working. He's an AP jungle connoisseur. All right, quick break, and
Yep.
then mid laners.
Yep. 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 Yep.
We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the remaining power rankings
Yo.
for
Yo.
LXC Sentinel Week 8. We got mid bot support. We're going to do the teams, and then hopefully by then, y'all can watch the LXC streamed game.
Yeah. It'll probably perfect timing. Maybe.
Perfect
We'll see.
timing.
We'll see what we can do.
Mid lane. So I believe other than DPH's new mid laner, it's a lot of familiar faces. So I do have last week's power rankings up. I guess HPB will be rocking somebody else. 13 Zuri. He thought we were ranking him in jungle. Ooh.
Oh yeah, because
Uh,
played mid. Was it just one game? They only
It
played
was
one.
that one game. I
No,
think
they
he came in
played.
as an E sub. He came in as an E sub.
No, they played two. Yeah, they played two games.
Yeah, so Zuri's played 2 matches. Uh, has not been the greatest showing in either of those matches, but you know what? What can you do? Zuri at 13. 12.
Can't teach gym if you can't play mid, play jungle, or something like
Something like that. Bressinger 35, OSGA. Both of these squads didn't end up playing. Bressinger actually did move down one spot. But you know what? I think he's happy not being 13. Number 11.
that.
Grayson?
DPH's new face. Yeah, I was gonna let you take a stab at it.
Grayson.
Grayson, or I mean, Kraken is what my mind wants to say, but
But those are C's. They're not
those are
K's.
C's.
Strayson.
Yeah.
Anyways, DPH picking up that upset victory. Uh, you know, I assume that this is a team that they're gonna roll with in the future for some leagues that we'll be participating in. And if you're going off a one match sample size, good call. Grayson looking really good into Mundo Man. Mundo Man didn't have fun this week. Number 10.
Yeah. One wonders what would have happened if DPH had this roster all split, but we'll never know. Not for this league.
Not for this league. Cry coming in at 10. Cry stepping up after the flame out of uh uh we could call we could just say Bixus, right? He doesn't have like a
Yeah.
something crazy. Anyways, Cry coming in
I
at
don't know.
10. Cry support main. It's a tough role swap. Only some people could do it. My man CB included. But
It's fun.
when
Fun
you're
while it lasted.
used, yeah, it's fun while it lasted. When you're used to just playing for your team, and all of a sudden you got to get greedy, make sure your farm's up. It's a tough swap, and it did not work out for Cry. I will say, looked really good, game one. 10-1-8 on the Syndra, but other than that, it is what it is. Riven at 9. So Riven, where was this player last week? Was it 10? So it did move up one spot. Um, I think TDB goes as far as Riven takes them. Not to say that Riven has to carry his team, but I just think like the highs are high and the lows are low with this player. He's like bipolar on the Rift.
Pull out the
Um,
Tristana mid. Haven't seen that in a hot minute. Didn't work out, but it was against a good team, so Riven chilling in kind of the middle tier. I guess is where we break the 9-10 split, maybe.
yeah, we'll say Riven's the gatekeeper. Number 8. OSGS's Mundo Man. We talked a little bit about him in their game against Grayson. A little bit unfair. You're going into a matchup. They have all this information, this data on you, and you got nothing. Had a really rough game one. Kind of turned it around game two. Busted out the Silas. Mundo Man. Also, kind of one of those players that you have to watch for OSGS. Could determine a lot of that team's success. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think Mundo Man kind of sneaking under the radar. I mean, their whole team, yeah, but Mundo Man especially.
Number 7. The top of the bottom half. Limestone. So it's been interesting. Limestone was kind of middle of the pack for in terms of like the stats category for several weeks now. But this last week, I don't know if it's because I don't know. He kind of shot up. He did something right. I know Storm was helping Veracity in terms of the drafts. I don't know if just a little bit better of a comp helped Limestone. It didn't get them a win, um, but you can argue it's the best Limestone's looked in some time. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't crazy, but it was better than the last couple weeks. So Limestone at 7.
Yeah, I dropped the spicy 11, 11, 11
The
stat
triple
line.
double. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord JK moving on up. We've gotten a little bit more data on him, and week in, week out, every time this player has played, they've looked good. So at number 6,
Yeah, it was because they got the free win this week, so they looked good enough, well enough, good enough in the past. So I know Lord JK is a good player. We'll see if BBP can do something with their playoff run.
we will see. Number 5, into the top 5, Stink Pickle. So Stink Pickle, uh, might have taken a hit. He did. Fell from 4 to 5. Part of it is a returning face of the mid lane. Part of it is that game 2 that Roar had. Um, 12 and 9 on Aphelios mid isn't horrible, but it's the first time the Aphelios mid has struggled. Didn't do a crazy amount of damage. Kind of got outplayed. So one spot, not the end of the world.
Yeah, I like those 80 champs and specifically 80 carry champs. I mean, it's been working out this second half of the season.
Yep.
The back-to-back
Curious to
Aphelios.
see what they pull out here for the playoffs. Number 4, that player that kind of took it to him in game 2. So it's tough. Ridge, been a while since they played mid. When they were playing mid, up until I believe our series, was looking really strong. He's up there in terms of damage, CS, everything that you look for in a mid laner. You could argue he's been placed too high. You could say that he should be behind Stink Pickle and Lord JK. We're going off of the whole season's resume for Ridge, but um, kind of up in the air as well.
The stats overall, regardless of the role,
Yeah,
all count towards it, right?
yeah.
Okay.
There's not really a way for me to differentiate
Yeah.
other than going back and like individually tallying stuff, and I'm not doing all that. Number 3, Soul Ram. Soul Ram did take a hit. Was number 2. Didn't have the best game. Game 1 wasn't horrible. Did a lot of damage. Did what they needed. They did get the dub. Um, I You can argue the 2 and 3 spot. Actually, 1 through 3 spot. You can roll the dice and place them accordingly. I think 1 through 3, all these players are really, really good. Definitely a tier above everybody else you'll see on the list. But Soul Ram did fall to 3.
Okay. The first time me seeing this list, here we are.
Yep. Here we are. Number 2, Efron. So Efron, I think it was a good wake up call for Salo to go against Efron. Efron's really good at taking no risky plays. He waits until it is in his favor to step up or trade or basically do anything. It's you know in the line of back in the LCK days where it's like, yeah, LCK teams are so boring to watch because they just do what you're supposed to do. But man, was it effective? Efron looked really good. Number 2.
Yeah, my guess is the stats
Yep.
closed the gap after this
Yep.
week, but didn't
Yep.
push them. So
It was it was a lot closer than it was in the previous weeks in terms of ranking these players. Salo at number 1. A big reason why Salo stays here. Lane dominance. He's by far on the way. The solo kill leader. And then as well as the percentage of team damage and KP, a lot of what Rivals does goes through Salo, as well as pretty much every mid on this list with Efron and Soram as well. So Salo at 1, like I said, 1 through 3, you could basically put them in a hat, pull them out, and any one of those players at 1 you could be happy with. But Salo remains at least for one more week. I don't know how we're supposed to do it next week. TB and I are gonna talk a little bit about it, but
yeah, 4 people don't play, except for 4 people. Yeah, we'll see. For this week, yeah, I agree. 1, 2, and 3 are like tier 1A, and then I think 4, 5, 6 are like 1B. So 2 kind of top groups in my opinion.
there you have it. Going on to the bottom lane power rankings. Stealthy asking what he was ranked. I'll pull it up. Um, just because I can.
I don't remember. I already
It
forgot.
was 13. Your top 8 at number 8. Stealthy. BBP, once again, no sample size for whoever's slotting up for ADC for BBP. I'm sure they'll play fine. Lunar Paw, definitely one of the best supports in the league to make this job a whole lot easier. Whoever steps up, but so far nobody has.
Yep.
Number 12, the Heartstuck brother, DP
Whoa,
Hellfire.
whoa.
Um, you know, DP did pick up the win. You can argue that this player struggled the most. Um, didn't
Okay,
didn't
yeah.
have crazy pop off games, but did good. The Caitlyn looked really good. Um, the problem with the bottom roll is that everybody else on this list has been playing the whole week or the whole season, and they all look really good every time they play. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like, I
You
think,
could say he should be higher, but
I'm surprised. I guess I don't remember what I put, but small sample size, 2 games total, and won't see them again on this list. But after 1 week of playing, didn't end up in last place. So there's that.
I tell you where you put him.
Oh, okay.
Number 10. So I mean, 2 spots.
Yeah.
So
All right, 2 spots is a lot.
yeah. Number 11, Zarce's. Zarce's. OSGA. It's the story of OSGA. Tough split. Number 11. I think the way we did the rankings, he ended up tied with Hardstuck, so I just put him ahead because
Okay,
he's been
that's
playing
fair.
the whole split.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Didn't they FF this week and did not make the playoffs, so we'll not be seeing them again.
What did we do? Trying to see last week's rankings.
Whatever. Number 10, we have Stoic for BLM. Hey, we on a time crunch out here, brother.
Yeah, I know.
I should start calling it. Never mind. All right, number 10, Stoic, BLM. Pulled out the Ash. What, they fell 2-3 to RAR this week, yeah.
Yep.
Stoic played a different role at least one of the weeks, right? I don't remember if it was
He
last week or not.
started AD carry, and then got benched when Drakenrich went bottom lane. I imagine that Kama couldn't play, which is why Draken played mid. And I think he got the itch to stay in mid, so that's why Kama's going ADC in the play-in game. Don't know.
Fair.
But at number 10, I mean, you've been in and out. Top 10. Not much you could complain about.
Yeah. True.
Number 9. Pradles moving on up the list was number 12. A lot of it is Heartstuck brother and Stoic haven't been playing, and so Pradles has, so he kind of got the nod for some of those tiebreakers. So number 9 is Pradles, one of those players that I think, you can say Veracity will go as far as Pradles lets them. If he plays really well or plays above the expectation, they could surprise some people. But if he doesn't perform, it could be tough sledding.
Yeah. Back-to-back kind of supportive 80 carry champs.
Yep.
Being played.
Right. Nike Dragon was number 9 last week. Did rise 1 spot. Not going to be a player that plays in the playoffs. Going to take his leave with the new faces coming in for
No,
PLW.
Nike's going top. Like,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, he won't be here in the bottom lane
won't be on
rankings
this
anymore.
list. That's what you meant.
Yeah. So
And they didn't play this week, so nothing crazy to talk about. Gonna finish the 80 carry rankings at 8, and we'll see how they rank top lane.
number 7. One hand did rise 1 spot. Despite the loss. One hand busted out the Mel. I mean, it was kind of tough for TDB as a whole the last couple weeks. One hand has been the most consistent player for TDB in my opinion. Unfortunately for them, during the slide, it hasn't been consistently good enough. Hasn't played, he's not running down games. He's not feeding on purpose or anything. It's just, TDB's in a rough spot, but one of the brighter spots of that team. So this is a player that's been in and out. I'm assuming he has a crazy work schedule or something.
Maybe.
Because if it's not Macho, then it's Adrian Legitness coming in for support to fill. But Macho played really well in their series against BLM.
Yeah, I've
Eh,
seen a few Mels this week,
yeah,
more than last week, and I think Macho pulled it out twice. Yeah.
Macho
Um,
did not play a regular 80 carry, I think.
yeah, that's true. Back to back to back AP carry.
We might be divulging strats. Anyways, Macho when he does play looks good enough. I think Macho and Adrian offer some stability. It's like the Stides are stable. Feathers is a stable top laner. Their bot lane's stable. It's the Jung and mid are kind of the wild cards, which, you gotta have those stable players. I think they have the correct makeup to try to make a deep run for playoffs. So we'll have to see. Key. So Key, Key's probably the hardest player to rank because he is always in the top in terms of like 80 carry efficiency, but HPB hasn't been winning and Key dies a lot. So I think, I could pull it up. Key ended up being number 5 for uh, the statistics, and then I think you had him at 8 or 7 or something,
Okay, okay.
and he
Seems
ended
like
up at
so.
5. So
Yeah, just kind of handicapped by overall team success. Granted, they won this week,
yeah,
but overall team success, and yeah, like you said, a little over aggressive or stepping up a little bit too far.
he could cut out the deaths. He did pull out the Samira, which I'm a fan of. I like Samira. But if he could cut the deaths, kind of play a little bit more greedy in terms of KDA, I think he would find a lot more success. BK's at 4. BK's does fall, I think 1 or 2 spots. Uh, um, wasn't his week. Um, if you asked him, he would say the same. Uh, Found out some stuff he needs to work out on. I'm sure he'll be fine. At number 4.
Yeah, a little bit of a fall. I think for almost all of us, at least 1 or 2 or 3 spots. But yeah, uh, got our ass whooped, but I think we actually learned a decent amount. So BK still chilling, top 5, no complaints there.
Into the top 3.
Finally getting some respect.
Yeah, Cheese. Cheese last 2 weeks has been number 1 in terms of individual 80 carry statistics. They did, like we keep talking about, they did lose the DP. But Cheese got to play the Yasuo, had a decent enough game, kind of a low impact game. I looked at the game was already over before it even started for Cheese in game 1. In the losses, he looks fine. In the wins, he looks really good. I think Cheese is, if there's a most valuable player, there's also a severely underrated player. He'd probably get that award for uh, just kind of being under the radar pretty much the entirety of this split.
Yeah, seems like most games he does really well. So we'll see how their playoff run ends up going.
Number 2, Chrome Alone. Uh, him and Efron. Here's the thing with TFF: if you don't win before 30 minutes, Chrome Alone and Efron are gonna make you pay. Chrome Alone certainly did that with the help of Poodle. They look really good in the bot lane. Chrome Alone, you can argue, might be number 1, number 2 right now. Really good player.
Yeah, we pulled a lot of our resources to Chrome Alone, which that part seemed okay, but yeah,
Yeah.
nonetheless, that's okay. Top 2, I think I would agree. 1 and 2, you could kind of went either way,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a clear 1-2 for right now.
There you go. Ferdy, number one. NLE looking good. Ferdy coming alive. Probably the past couple of weeks now. Has been ramping up as they approach playoffs. And yeah, I mean NLE is looking scary.
Yeah, back-to-back Varus games. We'll see if we get to. Unfortunately, no more NLE rivals
Rival,
script in
yeah,
the finals, so
finals.
we'll see if we can end up playing each other in semis or not.
All right, we got 25 minutes. We got support and team. We might even be done before they start the
I
stream.
got it. How dare you?
Yeah. Anyways,
How dare you jinx it?
support. Uh, I don't think everybody's played. Yeah. Okay. PLW.
Nope.
We're still waiting on support games from the new squad. So PLW at 13. Novocaine at 12. I mean, you see OSG Avalanche, you know what's what. Novocaine, really nice guy. I enjoyed his stream of our scrims, but the results weren't there. Number 11.
Yeah. No game this week and out for playoffs. But yeah, shout out to OSG.
So this one, I mean, it was tough. There's a couple ties here in the middle in terms of supports. Tiebreakers I usually look at, it is power ranking, so recent successes and things like that. So Scarlet does everything right for Veracity. I think she's the leader of vision score per minute. She's participating the most out of anybody in terms of their kills. Champ pool is an issue, and they're not winning. So you could say Scarlet's too low, but you could also say the way the last several weeks have gone, it's about time that they fell this far, which sounds kind of harsh to say. I don't mean it to come off like that, but um, you know, it's one of those. Scarlet's kind of one of those players where it's you feel bad, but at the same time they just haven't been winning.
Yeah, I mean, with Scarlet and Prails both playing fairly, well, obviously Scarlet playing support champs, but playing mostly all enchanters.
Uh-huh.
Pairing that with a scaling supportive type 80 carry, you're kind of just relying on the rest of the team to do a lot of stuff early on. So
Root Souls into the top 10. I don't remember what this player was last week. Let me look.
top 13.
Top 13 somewhere. Anyways,
Pulled out the Tarek, Leona, so some tank duty, and I think what is that guy's name? Starts with an A. Yep, I don't know.
NA? Philios?
It'll come to me eventually. What's the bull?
Alistar.
There you go. Yeah, I don't play the champ, so there you go. That makes sense why I don't know. I wanted to say Aatrox. Anyway, Brute Souls, ranked 10th, ending the regular season. They, of course, have a play-in game fell to RAR this week, but I think they still look decent.
I know why I can't find the support rankings. Because I forgot the stream got split into two.
Oh.
Root Souls did fall a little bit. It's just because of recency. And then Sapphire Gem, DP looked really good. They were in here earlier. You have some
I know.
shout it out.
I'll just
by the way.
wait for a good spot. I'll do it. All right. Shout out to Sapphire Jim, Lord Beach himself, Daddy Wall Street, Zuri LOL, and Cherry No Coke for the follows. We really do appreciate it. We always get to it at some point in the stream, just usually not live. Or as it's happening, I guess.
As it's happening. Yeah, Sapphire Gem went the perfect game on rail. 0-0 and 12. Game 2 had a little bit more deaths than they probably wished for, but they were playing the Leona. It still looked really good. The one-hit wonder, Sapphire Gem at 9. Number 8.
Start at 9, gonna end at 9.
Barbaric champion. The story of TDB is they are in a slump, and as such, the power rankings are reflecting that. Definitely not the worst on this list, but been kind of a tough run of it. That game 2 against NLE, everybody had a bad game. It looks like our big champion was not immune to it.
Yeah, busting out the Soraka. Soraka feels like if your team wins, it's like, okay, we won because we had a Soraka. But if you lose, it feels like you couldn't help your team at all.
Kind of how it goes. All right, number 7.
Seven's gonna be Dorsky of OSGS. Right? Yeah.
Yep. This player was number 4. Probably got hit the most in terms of the upset. And then some shakeups in the top. You can argue they fell too far. But nonetheless, Dorsky ends up at 7.
Yeah, it's tough whenever it's like, well, the game didn't really matter. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, you lost to a team that has like 1 win or 2 wins or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Kind of.
I mean, Sapphire Gem, we talked about, went deathless, 12 assists. That game, Dorsky went 4 deaths and only 1 assist. So, I mean, tale of 2 sides, I guess. Mac Mittens looked really impressive in their win against No Veracity. Could do no wrong on both the Braum and the Blitz. Really, really good stuff. Unfortunately, they won't make playoffs, but coming in and saying I'm the 6th best support is pretty impressive.
Yeah, cash in, cash out. Just you wonder what could have been had they been around for a while. But top 5, number 5, Adrian Legitness for RAR, who's played at least one other role, if not 2, maybe just 1.
Just 1. It's between
AD carry?
support and AD carry. Yeah.
Seems to pop off on any role that they play.
Yeah.
And they pulled out the 2-1 win this week.
Had a tough game. Game 2 was an interesting draft by Roar to rock the double mage bot lane, the Mel and Swain. But other than that, I mean, Adrian Legitness has been playing very consistently for Roar, pretty much this whole split. So I definitely think top 5 is deserved. Wasn't on this list last week because they played AD carry.
I see some bias, man. Number 4, man.
CB Josh from 3 to 4. I don't know. You can talk about your performance if you want.
It happened. We played.
It happened.
We played some games.
I mean, the game 1 looked fine. Game 2 was tough for everybody.
Game 2 was tough. That's okay. No, Carmelone and Poodle played really well as expected. They've both been decently high on the list. Poodle's been high up on the list all split, so as expected. I don't know. I think I played all right. I wouldn't have been too surprised if I would have dropped another couple spots, but that's why I pay you the big bucks.
Yeah, dude. TB pays me to keep him in the top 5. Number 3. Triumph? No, I'm just kidding. It's not triumphant. It's Lunar Paw. Y'all got scared. Lunar Paw coming in at 3. We haven't. Did they not play? I feel like we haven't talked about Lunar Paw in a while.
They didn't. Well, yeah. I mean, that's just team stuff. I don't think. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't think they played the last 2 weeks. I think they ended on a 2-week bye.
Yeah, because the situation and then the bye or something like that. I don't know. I slept since then, but nonetheless, back in the top 3, like they never left. So.
Who was playing support?
Well, they had a sub or e-sub.
Oh, that's right. That's why we didn't talk about them last week. Yeah.
Yep. So.
Anyways, Lunar Paw, really good player.
On the list. And we were okay with putting them back on the list, even though they didn't play this time around because they had played before.
And we knew they're, yeah. They've had some showings. Anyways, top 2, Poodle 25. argue could have been number one. I think Poodle is now back above 80% KP, which is crazy. 86 for those of you keeping track at home. Definitely the highest KP in all the land. Uh, Poodle looked really good. The Mel Ivan the Milio Ivan combo was something in game one against us, and then game two, making the Lulu work.
Yeah. I think the top two definitely make sense. Definitely the two best supports I've played against. Um, yeah, I mean there wasn't nothing crazy that was like, oh, okay, let's take advantage of them doing whatever. So, back-to-back enchanter style supports. I think I expected maybe one enchanter and one tank, but who cares? Whatever they did won, so
Yeah.
it worked out.
Then number one, triumphant once again into the top. I mean, on one hand, I feel like NLE has top three in every role. On the other hand, I feel like it's one bad day away for Triumphant having a bad day where NLE would struggle. I feel like Triumphant does a lot for them. And so if they get knocked off their game, could be scary. But at the same time, hasn't really happened. They had that one loss earlier in the season. They looked really good. Ferdy and Triumphant. The laning has been coming together. So you can argue maybe Poodle, maybe Triumphant. Either way, definitely really good.
Yep. We're gonna do it. We can do it. We can make it.
So yeah, we can make it. I mean, the problem is, so if we go through these and they haven't started the stream, do we just end it?
We can take our sweet time.
Okay.
What do you want from me?
At number 13.
I don't know. I think lately they've been starting at least the stream on time. There might be like the load in or whatever, but
Yeah, I think they should start a little bit early.
I don't know. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? What do you want to do? I can pull up the bracket. If we go through teams, we'll pull up the bracket and look at something.
Okay.
The last 5 minutes, but
We'll make something up. Sounds good, dude. Let's swing it. 13. So oh yeah, actually, I do have something to talk about. 100% transparency. I said it before. The stats that I look at for the teams wasn't working. So this is 100% bias between me.
okay.
and
I thought you were gonna
CV.
say 100% on CV.
No,
Okay, so
no.
you put
100%
yours.
bias. I did put mine in. And they were biased. I didn't go off stats. They were different from CB's. So this is the two-man committee coming up with these rankings.
Okay. Let me pull up. Let me see what. Okay, I want to see how it ranks up against what I put. Okay, cool, chilling.
Number 13, the surprise of absolute number one, it's been OSGA. They ended up on a FF to PLW. Wasn't the split for them. I think they picked up a single PvP win. They did get the FF win against
Hey, a win's a
CEW,
win.
but a win's a win, I guess. Yeah. But Avalanche at 13.
Yeah, would have been nice to see them at least be able to show up the last week, but it sounded like they tried to, just couldn't get enough players, I guess, to play this last week.
Who knows? Number 12.
DP Hellfire.
DP Hellfire, I think, was number 12 last week as well. I'll double check for all of you that are going to fact check me.
I seen some bias, man.
Yep, they were 12 last week. 12 last week, 12 this week. You could say, hey, they beat OSGS. They should have moved up. If they did move up, it only would have been one or two spots. I opted to keep them at number 12 in my rankings because it was a whole new team. So despite the win, they don't move up.
Yeah, because of you.
Because of me. I think you had them at what, 8 or
I think two or three spots higher.
10? Whatever.
Yeah. Like
Anyways,
9 or 10.
I don't even know if they're watching. They've moved on. Sentinel's in the past for them. Number 11. Okay, to my credit here, there was a three-way tie between 10, 11, and 12. So that's why I put DPH at 12 because I went off of
That's crazy.
I went off of standings. 11 HP Blacktip, another team that picked up a victory. Um, and they actually dropped from 8 to 11. I had them at number 11. I don't know where you had them at, probably 10.
I should probably have it open. I had it open. I had OSGA, and then who are we talking about? HPB. I had them at 11,
Uh-huh.
so I guess it worked out.
Yeah,
I just
so
had
we both had them at
DPH at
11.
10, not 12. So
They did pick up a win. It's interesting. We both put them down further than they were in the previous rankings. I think part of it is just not having the stats on their favor. Uh, like I said, 100% bias this go around.
I mean, based on stuff,
Yeah.
just not stat stuff.
I mean, I did look at stats. I think HPB, if they were in Sector 2, probably would have been playoff team, play-in team at least, but they weren't. Veracity at number 10. So these three teams ended up tied. So I just put them in order of, I guess, team success. You could say HPB should have been at 10 instead of 11. Either way, kind of firmly entrenched right there in the middle. Veracity.
They've had a rough,
They've had a rough go.
rough second half of the season. I mean, made playoffs, so that's all that really matters coming out
Yeah,
of
dude.
regular
All
season.
it took was beating DP and an FF win, which is crazy to me. But you
Yeah,
know what? They did enough. They did what was required to get in there.
they did enough. Sector 2, man. People were saying it's a tough sector, man.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. Tough to look at. Anyways, number 9. Who we got? Ooh, TDB. Okay, I don't know where you had
Dang.
them. I forgot. I did. I did look at them when I put them together. Um, I put TDB at 9.
I put TDB at 8.
So okay, there you
Okay,
go.
okay.
Not high on TDB right now. I think they have all the tools in the world to be maybe 2 spots higher, maybe 3. It's been a tough show the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean they can figure it out still. It's just the last 2 weeks with the roster that they currently have. This feels like the right area for them to be in.
General vicinity. Number 8.
It's gonna be Braum Lives Matter.
Pretty sure you had them at 7.
Nope, I had them at 9. So I had
Okay,
9 and
there you
8
go.
flipped, and then 10
So
and 12 flipped.
I had a tie. So TDB and BLM they both got 8.5 in terms of where we placed them. I took it upon myself to put BLM at 8 because I think if they played TDB right now, they beat them.
Oh yeah, I guess that goes back to what we said earlier. Is that who plays each other? Or no? On Thursday, maybe.
Yes.
Tonight's Raw and PLW, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
TDB and
So
BLM.
yeah, okay. I guess that makes sense because I said TD's gonna win Thursday. You said Beyond's gonna win.
Yeah.
So since you made this one, I was like,
Yeah.
guess you get to pick. You get to
The
pick the tiebreaker.
power of the graphic design person. I mean, in all reality, like it's a toss up. They're basically your neck and neck. You can get mad if you want. Anyways, number
Top
7.
half
Let's
or
round
middle?
out. Yep, the
Middle.
bottom half. Ooh.
Plasma
Ooh.
was with an asterisk next to him. I don't know. This one was tough because it's like
I think you had them rated higher than me.
I had them 6. Yeah.
Okay, so I had them 7. So they ended up at that 6.5 mark. So kind of put them right at 7. So you can say they're somewhere between 6 and 7 in our eyes.
Which yeah, I mean it's a mix of they were solid looking early on, and then a bunch of stuff happened there in the middle indish part, and then now it's like
Dude,
big question marks.
at the end of the day, we haven't seen this team play. So we can look back at this when playoffs are done and be like, yeah, what the heck? Why was Pazos a 7? We don't know. We don't know where they're going to be. For all we know, they could be worse than OSGA. That's Probably not the
Okay.
case.
Okay.
Probably not the case. But for what we have in terms of like actual evidence, we have no idea where they're gonna go. Number 6.
Number 6, I assume. Oh, okay. BBP.
I think you had them at 4.
Yeah, that was tough. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure how to go
you
about
had
it
them at
because
4. I had them at 6. So, like Plasma Wolves, we don't know what this team's gonna look like. They do have Hylim and Lunar Paw and Lord JK, which are 3 really solid players. I was debating between 6 and 5. I ended up putting them at 6 because I don't know how the other 2 players are gonna play. So you could say they should be top 5. You could say they should be number 1. They are technically undefeated.
yeah, that's definition diff, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of the stuff, but hey, I'm just a bystander. So they are technically undefeated. You are correct. Some players on the team are undefeated.
Number 5. Top 5.
Top 5, top 5. We are getting some respect. Some late
Yeah.
season respect. As they have a play-in game tonight.
Yeah. Um, the question is, we don't know a lot about BPP. If you stack them up against Roar, do you think they win handedly? My answer is no. I think it'd be close. So you can argue
Yeah.
these 2 teams could be flip-flopped. I erred on the side of caution. I put Roar at 5. Um, and that's kind of just how it shook out.
I think that's fair.
Number 4, OSG Sub Zero. I think stayed at number 4 from last week. I
I don't know. This one's
you,
tough. This one I think
you can
was
you
a
can
respect.
say when you see it number 3, like 3 through 1, you could say Sub Zero should be ranked higher than one of these teams. Um,
Ah,
you
okay.
could, you
Okay.
could,
I mean, you could say that, I guess.
you could say that. Do I agree? No, which is why they're at number 4. But you could say this is Sector 1 bias. Sub Zero should there should be some respect. I don't see them beating 1 through 3.
I agree. And the only reason I would say it's tough to even say that is because they have a worse record than the 3 people above them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we gotta put some respect on the name. Same with RAR. So feels
All right,
decent.
we got a minute. Let's go. Top 3. Number
Top 3.
3, Rivals. We lost. We went down 1. It is what it is. Wasn't the best showing. Uh, we'll 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 fix it.
No, we didn't lose.
TFS.
We got whooped. We got brought back down.
TFF
To be honest.
beat us 2-0. They moved up. I think they rose pretty dramatically. They were number 6 last week. So number 2, deserved. They actually are the only other team that has the only
They
team that has
beat
beaten
number
NLE.
1 and 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So you could say, should there be a number 1? I don't know. Number 1, there's only one team left. That is NLE. NLE, I think, have the strongest floor of any team. I think they have top 3 probably in every role. You could say maybe top 5 for some of them. Either way, I think they're the favorites. I think they're everybody's favorites. Well, not everybody's, but anybody that's sane, that should be the favorite for
yeah.
going into
If you were
playoffs.
betting, they'd
If
be
you're a
the
betting man, if I'm obviously I gotta say Rivals is gonna win the whole thing, but if I was non-biased, I'd say NLE. There's all she wrote. That is your power rankings. We'll figure out what we're doing for the rest of the split. You guys are probably in and out right now, but we are gonna send you over to LXC. Enjoy the show.
Yeah. Now I just gotta figure out how to do that.
Oh yeah, you need me to do it?
LXC. What is their LXC stream?
LXC stream. There you go. All right, goodbye. Have fun.
Yup.
Tell us who you guys are rooting for. Um, I don't know. Say no to drugs. See ya.
I don't have the actual thing on.
That happened. Don't pay attention. Pay no attention to the ad. I think they're gone. Are they gone?
Mm.
Yeah, they're gone. We're in LXC stream now. All right.